I was at work in Washington, D.C. At the time. I was a captain assigned to the safety office at Engine 4 as a platoon safety officer. Washington, D.C. has one safety officer per shift for the whole city. And I had been noticing I was sleeping a lot more. I went from a 35-year career, including my volunteer time, of sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night was my usual customary amount of sleep, and no naps during the day ever. I went from that to sleeping at least 12 hours a day almost overnight. My wife was concerned about it, and I said I thought that it was simply that I was over 50 and my body was rebelling, saying we can't keep running at this pace. Then my son got worried enough, he sent me for a full physical with my regular primary care. I had a full physical, blood work, everything came back normal, I was fine. I went another month, my lymph glands started popping on my neck, both front and rear. And my son begged me to go back to our doctor. I went back and he said, I'm going to send you for a biopsy. I went for a biopsy, and the surgeon that did it said, you know, I think this is an overabundance of caution. You really, on your ultrasound, your lymph glands don't look that remarkable. But better safe than sorry, we'll do a fine needle biopsy, and I really wouldn't get that worried about it. I think we're going to be okay. 5 days later at work, as I said, I was on duty and working on reports. It had been a horrific day, and my wife called me and said, call the doctor immediately, or call the doctor, he wants to talk to you about your biopsy. I said, okay, I'll talk to him in the morning. And she said, no, he's waiting for your call now at his office. It was 9:30 at night. And I hung up the phone. She said, you can call me the minute you get off the phone with him. I said, this is rather strange. What doctor calls you at 9:30 at night? Called him, he said, hey Chief, how you doing? And I said, I'm not having a very good day. He said, well, I'm not gonna make it much better. And I said, what's up? He said, I hate to tell you this, but you have malignant lymphoma. You have low-grade stage 3 non-Hodgkin's. And with that, I had to go to my dorm room to get my thoughts collected before I called my wife, but that changed my life forever. And you can't take it back. You can't turn it back. The way I addressed it, the way I took it, I never went through a why me phase. I never went through a denial phase. There was no point in that. But I said, we've got to deal with this very quickly. I'm a busy person. I've got a lot of things I do. I got committees I'm on, organizations that I deal with. I don't have time for this. So I told the oncologist they sent me to that, and he said, I think you better take a look at what you have. And I said, that's nice, let's get going. I don't have time. I really don't have time for this. And I never missed a day at work with DC. I slowed down a little in my volunteer capacity as chief at Cabin John Park in Montgomery County, Maryland. But overall, what haunted me throughout this and continues to haunt me is the exhaustion. So I think my message to my colleagues, both career and volunteer, or paid and volunteer, is this. When your body changes dramatically in any regard, hunger, weight, sleep, something is wrong and it's telling you something, and you've got to go get it checked out. And don't stop with the traditional physical, because it is possible, because I went to have that explained to me. How did I have a physical that came back perfectly normal? And there were a couple tests that weren't in the blood work test that would have revealed it, but they're not part of a standard physical. And one of the things we're here to work on is making sure that occupational fire clinics, or doctors who deal in physicals for volunteers, screen both before you come on the job for those cancers and then all throughout your career. Because it is possible nowadays to find out if somebody is developing a cancer that's going to take a long time to affect their being, but they may not be suited for the fire service, and we need to look at that. started in 1976, and I was taught that we could easily go into a fire, get it knocked down without having to worry about a mask. Of course, at that time, masks, SCBA, were limited, and we were able to go in there, put the fire out, and suck it up and leave the building, and it was tantamount to sitting around a campfire on a weekend day. Now, when I go into a fire, it's very accurate. You immediately notice the irritation to both your nose and your throat, and it's beyond the kind of irritation you would get with a real deep inhalation of paper and wood smoke. This is very, very carcinogenic, off-gassing and toxic gases, including the CO of the smoke. So certainly now it's suicide to not don your SCBA and not put it into service. I think the day I realized the extent to which we are fighting a tanker fire inside a home was the day when we lost Kyle Wilson in Prince William County. And when that day happened, when you looked at the tape of that fire, it was very easy to almost correlate that fire to the tanker explosion on I-270 at I-495 at the I-270 spur, which I was on. And the smoke was exactly the same. The off gas was exactly the same. And that was a stark gut check for me that, my God, we're now fighting a gasoline tanker inside a home. You have to protect yourself to the full extent we afford that protection, we being the employer, if you will. As a safety officer, I routinely saw people who sent their same set of gear out for cleaning when we provide you the opportunity to clean both. We have primary and secondary sets, as we do in my volunteer department. And we have 2 cleanings per year for the sheer fact of cleaning one set than the other. Well, I noticed that there was a propensity with many of the firefighters to send that one set out all the time, so they could keep the salty set, and they also knew that if they hit 10 years, it was not coming back, it would be condemned, and at 10 years, you really have broken a code. I called it my pajamas. You've got a comfortable set of PPE when it's 10 years old, and you hate giving it up to break in a brand new set. But the bottom line is we're trying to save your life. And the quicker you learn that, the better off you'll be. And I think that people like myself need to go around this country as we can and tell our story and impress upon the new firefighters, if you will, the younger generation, that it's very, very easy to prevent this if you use everything you're provided.